Y'all ain't saying nothing. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters. I don't want to hear no more excuses about what y'all can't afford.
Okay.
All right, guys, we gotta move on to part 2 here.
Why'd you start me off with something about moms? That's so fiery. I'm fired up now. I'm mad at that Chuck E. Cheese
I wanted
person.
to wait till you get on the channel so we can do that. I didn't want to just comment because I have a different perspective than you.
Yeah.
But listen, this is a video I just released earlier today, and I was talking about, sometime.
Exactly, Darth. Not enough info to go. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the racism, but I do personally think there was some ignoring there.
Sometimes pastors go too far.
Sorry.
This is one of those cases where I think a pastor, his name is Carlton Freudenberg or something, but Kansas City pastor. I don't know. I'll let you guys take a listen if you haven't seen the video that I posted, but I want to get my white perspective. So we reacting to this for a second time like we did to the Beyonce video. So share with me, what is your thought on this?
See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, because of how you've been honoring me.
How you been what?
That's what Pastor
What did he just say?
Davidson was talking about and his wife yesterday at the church.
What did he say? Poor, broke, dusted, and disgusted? What did he say?
That's what they were talking about. There it is. Let's listen again.
See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, because of how you've been honoring me.
How you been out of what?
Honoring me.
Honoring what?
The way you honoring me as a pastor, it shows that you are poor, broke, busted, and disgusted.
Oh, okay. Rewind it. Now I understand what he said.
He's not done.
No, go back. I want to hear that because.
See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, because of how you've been honoring me. I'm not worth your McDonald's money. I'm not worth your Red Lobster money.
You ain't worth 5 cents.
I ain't worth your St. John knit. Y'all can't afford it no how. I ain't worth y'all Louis Vuitton. I ain't worth your Prada. I'm not worth your Gucci. You can buy a Movado watch in Sam's.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
And y'all know I asked for one last year. Here it is the whole way in August. I still ain't got it. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters. I don't want to hear no more excuses about what y'all can't afford.
This is horrific. Stop laughing. These poor people. This bondage and oppression.
I'm sorry. What
poor,
kind
broke,
of,
busted, and disgusted because of how you're honoring me. Thank you, Darth.
What kind of biblical theology is this? Like, what school did he go to get these
Thank you,
talking
Troy.
points?
Do we give honor to the preacher? No, we give honor to God.
Lord, I'm sorry for laughing, guys. I just couldn't help myself because I'm like, yo,
This is when he laughs really hard. You really think this is funny, huh? I think
like,
this is
it for
disgusting.
real? He's making me cry. What kind of...
Yes, Megan, that's exactly how I feel. Like saying, you got some nerve. His whole congregation should have stood up, threw a penny at his feet, and walked out.
When I am too overwhelmed with something that is wild, I either cry or I laugh. This is one of those cases. I'm like, I might as well laugh because I can't cry. I can't cry for him. I know
this is idolatry, and he wants them to idolize him. And then he's going to say you're making
McDonald's. And by the way, guys,
money.
No condemnation.
And they're all okay. Yeah.
No condemnation because pastors made their mistakes. I've made my mistake. The first time I preached a sermon, I was wild. Somebody had to talk to me. But the thing is, I think we go through issues as ministers. There's a lot of frustration here. So there's a story behind even the way he's speaking here. So there's probably something going on in his life. There's probably a way he's been treated by the church.
He wants a Movado watch, James.
I'm just saying, the man loves to look good. Give the man credit where credit is due. But I'm just being honest. Now, the fact is, this is completely wrong. This is bogus. This is idolatry. This is not Christian.
Yeah, he shouldn't be pastoring because you can't stand up there and say you want to be served because Jesus came not to serve, not to be served, but to serve.
And to give his ransom for many.
Even if it happens to religion.
Yeah, so this is where pastors go too far, and I think we're gonna have another video where we talk about another pastor also that went a little farther.
Who's the televangelist who said if he didn't get $1 million, God would kill him, or he needed an airplane. There was
Oh
one.
yeah,
Didn't we
that
talk
was
about
cry
that?
for $1. Give me $1.
So you want your congregation to give you a $500 to a $1,200 watch? Listen, just like I told that person this morning with Beyonce,
I didn't even
with
know what
all these
Volvado
people.
watch was until he said
I
that.
know. I'm so fortunate to have a man who's not into the flashy. I gotta get him to step it up a little bit. He's content.
I have not a
He's
single
content, like,
jewelry on me.
He's content with Goodwill, I guess. And it's not, I don't have a problem with Goodwill. I get clothes
She
from
doesn't
Goodwill.
like me shopping at Goodwill. I love
No,
shopping
I
at
don't
Goodwill.
mind. When did I ever tell you don't shop at Goodwill? That is not true. I'm
Yeah,
talking
like-
for furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
when
yeah.
I'm talking about your clothing and stuff.
Can I shop at Goodwill for you?
For me, I'm very particular.
Nah, there
Like
you go.
the fabric
That's what I meant to
matters.
say.
I have shopped at Goodwill.
Yeah,
A lot of my
I
skirts
don't.
and
I
stuff are
don't
from
either.
Goodwill.
Nothing's wrong with Goodwill.
I have no problem with Goodwill. What I'm talking about
Yeah.
is understanding like the quality of fabric.
Did you know Goodwill, by the way, has a biblical origin? It's from the
didn't know
scripture, goodwill toward men, in the book of
praise
Luke.
Lord. That
Yeah,
makes
the person
perfect
who
sense.
started Goodwill was a Christian himself. The
Me
whole
neither,
idea-
Darth.
Yeah, that was pretty
Mhm.
cool. But-
Yeah, so when I say that is like I have skirts, I have clothes, I have some of my greatest pieces from Goodwill.
Man.
My whole daughter's room was decorated with Goodwill, but I don't want a piece of furniture. He'll
Yeah.
come home with like chairs and stuff, and I'm just like, no, we
I'm
can't.
a man. I can pick up stuff on the side of the street.
Yeah,
clean
this
it,
day and
and,
age.
like wipe it all down. I make sure there's no bugs, there's no bed bugs. It's in good condition, and the next
Furniture
thing you know,
for like the wall
sitting
and
all
stuff.
nice.
But
Yeah,
I love Goodwill too. It has its purpose for certain purchases. There's
Yeah.
certain things you're not going to buy. I'm
Yeah.
not getting a swimsuit. I'm not getting undergarments.
and
I'm not getting certain things. And they sell a lot of new
Yeah,
stuff as
and
well.
I think-
When I say it, and I don't want to deviate too far. Go ahead.
I was gonna say pastors don't have to look busted. What's the other word?
I don't know.
Busted and disgusted.
Darth got it right. Poor, broke, busted, and disgusted.
Poor, broke, busted, and disgusted. It's not actually spiritual. We spoke about this before. Like being a Christian doesn't mean you have to look poor.
Yeah.
Like, woe is me. I'm poor. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
That's humility. No, I
Yeah.
think you can look good.
You should. God wants you to look good and
nice.
presentable.
Yeah,
He doesn't want you
clean.
looking like,
Yeah.
be humble. Humble doesn't mean.
Like if God is good, it has to be good to you.
Exactly.
You know, if God is all that you want to preach to others about, you must look like you've experienced the
Darth.
goodness of God.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Found his, this is James, hands down. My computer chair I found in someone's
I
garbage
think I
10
got
years
two.
ago.
I got 2 of those here in the basement.
Yeah, and they're in
That's
the
probably why they're
basement.
making so
That's
much.
why.
No, this one is actually we
These
bought
are
this
actually
one on
new.
Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just broke them from sitting down on there all the time doing videos.
I love Goodwill too.
Yeah, me
I
too.
just know it has certain things that I will
Yeah.
purchase and certain things that I just don't
Yeah.
because I need to see it. I need to
Yeah.
have an encounter with it.
Darth Vader is on fire.
Humble equals ragged. Yeah.
I think some of it is not true humility. It's actually
Yeah.
a self-pity. Some people just dress a certain way for attention's sake.
And to
You know,
intentionally
more
say,
like to be a
I'm
gazing
more humble
stock.
than
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's not really humility. I wouldn't call that humility. But what this pastor is doing is the other side of the extreme here. It's like, come on, bro, like calm down. You know, like you're putting a chain around the neck of your members here. Like, can you imagine sitting under this preaching? It was like, man, honey, how much
I
money?
wouldn't be
How much
sitting
money?
there.
How much money we have in the bank? It's like, let's come on, empty out your pocket. No, that's not biblical. You know, this is very
Oh,
dangerous
nice,
teaching.
Megan. Happy first day to your kids. My daughter started her first day as well.
Sorry, I had to step away.
Online private Christian school. Oh
That is
man, you gotta tell
beautiful.
us which one it is.
That is beautiful.
We're praying that next year. Our son is in
Yeah.
he started kindergarten at a Christian school this year.
Yeah.
So
he's
and
excited.
I'm actually very glad.
Oh,
At
he was
first I
so
wasn't
like happy.
to go to school today.
Not so much to go to school. As soon as he got there, his teacher was like waiting at the door, like, DJ, I couldn't
Oh,
wait for you. And
yeah.
he was just like, he just left me. He didn't even give me a hug. I'm like, oh.
See, I would have called him back. All right. How much? Okay.
You don't have to behave like Chuck E. Cheese sometimes. We can just accept being ignored. Let's just keep going. All right.
Chuck E.
Pastor is
Cheese.
preaching now. Let's listen.
He's
to
not
him.
preaching.
You can't talk to my cheap sons and daughters. I don't want, y'all ain't saying nothing. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters. I don't want to hear no more excuses about what y'all can't afford. You can't afford it because you don't see the value here. Y'all hear from y'all pastor and father, I'm over y'all. I'm over your cheap expression.
By the way, there is an apology video. I'm
Praise
not sure if
God.
you want to hear it. If you want to hear the video.
I think that's important.
Okay.
It's important.
But let's talk about this part quickly. Let's make it abundantly clear. That's not Bible.
Yeah.
That's not Christian. This is a pastor that's going through some issues. It's very obvious. He might not be a bad man. He might not be a bad husband. I don't need to go as far as to say these things, but these words are not the words of God. I want to make sure you guys get that. God has called us to be humble. He's called us to serve, not to be served, like you said earlier. And he's also said that love not the world. This is a pastor that is struggling with lovers of the world. Part of his issue is that he just wants to be, I'm saying the man loves to look good, extra good. And Jesus called us not to love the world, not to be a friend of the world. 1 John 2:15-16, Jesus says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. For if any man loves the world,
he's been waiting for that watch for a year.
The love of the Father is not in him. But he's been waiting for a long time. Well, why does he feel entitled? This is a big question I'm going to ask. Why will any minister feel so entitled by his members to be given these things? That's the question. You don't talk like that unless there's a story behind that.
Yeah, I think some people get in over their heads. I think some people start off, you've heard it many times. We all can start off very humble in our positions and then unintentionally change because of the clout, because of the enamoration, because of all those different things that come with positions and titles. So people can kind of get on a high horse, for lack of a better word. Yeah. And I don't know him. I don't know nothing about him. I just know that right there is putting your congregation in bondage, because I would love to know. He said you're McDonald's money. So you got to wonder what his congregation looks like. You got to look at, the demographics of who he's serving and his mentality of wanting to receive versus wanting to serve. And on top of that, the name calling and the shaming. Jesus never shamed anyone into obedience. No. That's the thing that's so key. Jesus was compassionate in his obedience. When he had that conversation with the woman at the well, they were one-on-one. He said, it's not true. You have 5 husbands, and the one you have now is not yours. He let her know, but he didn't let the whole city know. No. He didn't shame her into obedience. And this pastor, sounds like he's trying to shame his congregation into obedience. He's calling them names. He's self-seeking. He wants saying that they don't understand the value of what they have. The value of what you're giving them, man cannot purchase. It's not built with hands. This is it's treasures that are stored up in heaven. That's the value of what they're receiving. The value of what you're supposed to be giving them. So when they look at that, they should be looking at what they need to give more of is sacrifice, more prayer time. And when I say sacrifice, I mean laying down of themselves in the sense of not their pocketbooks and their money. Not to say that God doesn't need money to run the church. There's running the church, and then there's getting you a Movado watch.
Yes, that's different.
There's a big difference. Taking care of the pastor, making sure his basic needs are met. That's it.
Say. Yeah, if the needs are met, we can talk about the wants. And again, if you have money as a minister and you can purchase these things, fine. But you cannot use the church. You see, it's not a money-grabbing business. Humility, ministry is service.
Yeah.
Like literally when you become a minister, you are called to serve. And a lot of time people think when you join ministry, it's all about preaching. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, literally you are called to be a servant. Jesus says, I have not called to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life for ransom for many. Jesus said, he that is least, that is greatest among you, let him become the servant of all.
Yes.
That's something you've been called to do. Like literally you have to be a sacrificial offering to the people you serve. And sometimes it hurts. I ain't gonna lie, it hurts because, sometimes in serving, the gas tank goes empty. In serving, sometimes your family are left behind. In serving, sometimes you don't make it to your children, this and that. Because that's part of the thing. You share your life with another group of people, and that life could be given to your wife, your children, and things like that. So it is a serious work, and it takes sacrifice. And ministers like who's talking like this, I can be honest, there probably is a level of abuse that he's experiencing. There probably is some brokenness, some emotional dissatisfaction that he's experiencing that you and I don't know. So maybe I'm just trying to be
he
kind
needs
here.
to work on his relationship with the Lord.
Absolutely.
So the Lord can fill those
But
voids.
I think he should have those discussions with whoever is overseeing him about the way he feels as a minister. Like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. I'm putting in the work and I don't feel like I'm getting the love, the attention, or the money. It's not wrong for a minister to ask for more money. I've seen ministers who protested. They said, I will not preach until you increase my pay. And it's true, they were working hard. They were doing the work of the Lord. And
what did he need a
and some
pay increase for? Was he having a debt to income? Like, was he?
Well, the problem
think
is
my
that
issue-
some ministers, the one that I've known that asked, I want an increase of pay. He's got his degree. He's doing everything right. He's overworking, feeding the church, caring. Like he
What is
literally
the more
building.
money going to do for him? I guess that's
The more
my
money
question.
is for him to be able to dedicate fully to the work, because he had to go and get a job. So therefore,
there's a difference
the
there.
work of the Lord
That's
was
the difference.
I'm saying the work of the Lord was left unattended. So sometimes the minister can say, in order for me to care for the flock as I want to, maybe you guys need to increase my pay so I can fully dedicate myself to the service of the Lord, and I don't have to go and keep a side by job and my members are left dying. There's a place for that.
I got my hand up.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to be respectful here. So when we look at the apostles, I do just want a quick highlight. I love what Megan said here. When I started to live more humble, checked out of the world and worldly things, leaning on the Father more, giving my worries to him, I have been more free. And then she said, and the Father blessed me immensely.
This is a powerful statement.
That right there.
What's that?
It's not like it's because it's not financial. God somehow makes it work. Remember, I took that lower paying job, and I don't know how we got through that year. That job was the lowest paying job I've ever had as a nurse. Even as an LPN, I was making more money. But it was everything else I received from that job. Learning how to love, learning how to see my family different, it was a nurse family partnership job. It was phenomenal. It was just amazing, and being able to serve others. And it was just perfect.
Yeah.
And I knew God called me to that job in the time that he did. But the pay cut, going from a manager position where the checks were paying everything twice down to that. Yeah. And still, we made it through that year. Put kids in Christian school, put Isaiah in college, all kinds.
We ain't going no serious, no debts, nothing.
No crazy debt.
No crazy.
Every debt is out
Yeah.
now. Any debt accrued
And
that
thank
year.
you for that.
And that was
Megan.
in 2017.
And thank you for that testimony as well. The truth is, despite all of that, I'm not justifying this minister. I'm just saying these are
I didn't say the
possibilities.
part I wanted to raise my hand about.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So the part I was raising my hand about, though, was when the apostles felt they had too many burdens, then they appointed and they delegated, right?
That's good.
So my question is, if this pastor is feeling overwhelmed, overburdened, had to go get another job, this is where you start delegating or saying, here's what I can handle. Here's this. Protesting and saying, I'm not going to preach until I get more pay means you don't believe the calling that God put on you if you think money is going to be able to help you carry out God's purpose for your life.
Well, there's more to that story, because some with lesser degree were getting more paid.
Exactly. So
because of affiliation.
Yes.
While the man, he worked the field, he got the members, he started his own church, and he connected them to the conference, which is the general body where he gets his paid from, and they did not acknowledge the value of his work. He protested. Guess what? It did work in his favor. He protested for 3 months. He told the church, I will not do so and so. I will step back until I am paid what I'm worth. Like the Bible does speak about that. It says you don't muscle the mouth of the donkey who treads your field. And the idea is, if the minister is doing the work of the Lord, give him his pay. Why do we think because he's a Christian, he's a gospel preacher, he doesn't worth getting paid? The world pays you for your work. Why don't the church feels like you worth the money? And I'm not saying you shouldn't be abusing the minister. The world give you raises. Like and I'm speaking for ministers here who are mistreated. I'm speaking for a lot of ministers, and I'm not talking about the Creflo Dollars. I'm not talking about the TD Jakes and the Joel Osteens who are making so much money. I'm not talking about those. There are a lot of people who are serving God. They don't get the recognition. They don't get the love. They don't get the acknowledgement. In some cases, we can say God will provide, but God has provided because He gives the ministries, the conferences, the members the money to assist and care for His flock. And sometimes we just leave them unattended.
Without putting people on blast, you know, and hearing what you're saying and really asking God to open up my understanding and not think that it's a cry for money.
No.
We've experienced certain things. We've seen experiences where they have people who are not getting paid for their services, yet they're going to make big purchases and they're excited about these big purchases. And so there is an imbalance there where you're not taking care of the people. So that's the other thing too. You're talking about a conference level. The business organization is failing that pastor.
Yeah.
That's where the difference comes. Now, this person is asking his members for the money.
That's wrong.
What you're speaking of and what I can agree with is when you have a conference, who has a HR, who has a payroll, who they know what everyone's getting paid. They know basically they can see what all you have to turn in audit reports. You have to turn in all these different things. And you know, when your pastors have to go get jobs and then, you know, there's an imbalance and you're going to go buy grandiose items or build new buildings and get more technology, get more amenities for whatever you have connected to your church. And you got pastors who are having to work full-time jobs plus minister, then I can see where that is not taking care of your people.
It happens.
And that's where I think those pastors should be praying to God and asking God, is this where they're supposed to maintain and stay?
Yeah.
Because we get comfortable too when we get a job and we don't want to say like because God put our calling in that particular place for 5 years or 10 years, God might be calling you out of that place, out of that position. So yeah, so I do see that because the experience, I can see that.
We can play the apology video in the meantime.
Okay, so on to the apology video.
My name is Carlton Funderburg. I'm the senior pastor of Church of the Well right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I want to take this moment to address the now viral video clip of me from a sermon given August the 7th, 2022. Though there is context behind the content of the clip, no context will suffice to explain the hurt and anguish caused by my words. I've spoken to those I am accountable to and have received their correction and instruction. I have also privately apologized to our church, who has extended their love and support to me. I'm privileged to do life with them. The video clip does not reflect my heart or my sentiments toward God's people, yet that's not discernible in the clip. Therefore, I offer this sincere apology to you today. No context could erase the words I used. I apologize to all who have been hurt, angered, or in any way damaged by my words. The zeal of any presentation must be tempered with love and respect, and that was not displayed. I apologize to the church at large for any undue scrutiny I have subjected you to. I apologize to every preacher and pastor who must stand up under the controversy that I have caused. To those who know and love me, thank you for your support. To those who now know me, because of this video clip, I regret that your first impression of me is one of anger, hate, and resentment. My actions and my words are inexcusable. I offer no justification or defense. That moment was mishandled and mismanaged. I deeply regret this moment, and I solicit your prayers and your forgiveness as we grow forward. Thank you. God bless you. Go with God, and He'll go with you.
Amen. Well, I'm glad for the apology.
I think it's great.
We don't know a man's heart, so it's beautiful that he was able to see that. They gave him correction. And this is what their church is supposed to do because he's human, right?
Yeah.
So don't we all appreciate the pardon that we received? I know I acted up last week. Why am I giving myself so much time? Probably earlier today. Last week. Yeah, right. But right. So, we've all done or said something that has been totally out of line, out of character, out of our true desire of who we want to see ourselves grow, become, who we want to see our children become, what we want our relationships to become. We've had some fights. I know we were like, that's not really who I want to be in this marriage. I don't want to be this kind of husband. I don't want to be this kind of wife. Yeah. I don't want to show this to my kids. So we don't want anyone making any final judgments on us for a bad moment. He is in a position of authority. He's in a position of leadership. So he did need to be dealt with. And I appreciate that he openly apologized. That's very important as well. And he said he did the personal apologies and all of that. Very important as well. Maybe now he'll get his Movado watch out of sincere heart. But truly,
downgrade, get an Apple Watch. Those are cheaper.
Yeah, but truly it's important for us not to, cast judgment. And
I appreciate him for doing that. I have a lot of respect for men like that.
Yeah.
Because we don't judge a person by an occasional, just a quick wrong, like you said, by just one right thing they do. Like
by one right thing or one wrong thing?
Wrong thing. There's a way that somebody said it, occasional wrong, occasional right. But the thing is, you just have to look at pattern. If you see a pattern of behaviors like this, then we can say there's an issue, and then we can make a judgment, but still never judge to condemn, because you can judge righteous judgment in the hope that you call them to rebuke and return and repent. That's different. But again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
By the time we're done breaking down everybody's videos, we'll be so full of resentment and bitterness, and all these people will go off, ask for forgiveness, and get saved.
And we're holding on to their own.
We're like, oh, these evil bastards. Singers.
And little do you know, God done forgive them, restored them, and healed them, and you don't see that.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that there's no condemnation, but these things we do have to make light, like I said earlier to that person I was talking to. If it's open, it requires an open. We need to start fighting against sin the same way the devil is fighting. The enemy is fighting to infiltrate darkness and sinfulness and hatred and bigotry and idolatry.
We must
self-mutilation.
That's right.
And self-hatred. All these different things. The way the devil is waging war against us that much, we need to come back harder. We should be louder. Yes, we should agitate. I told that person, I said, change typically comes with agitation of the heart, mind, and soul.
There is a place to be radical for Jesus.
You have to.
Because sometimes it is our quietness that is more deadly. Somebody has a book, I think it's Matt Walsh, and what he says is he calls it a church of cowards. And what his argument is, why are Christians so cowards? Like,
don't want to step on anyone's toes. No, I said this morning, I said, it is time to step on toes. It is time to crush toes.
We don't want to say anything like LGBT. We don't want to talk about that. Anything people mention, abortion. I don't want to say.
That's what between them and God.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna stand for?
God said, who's gonna stand for me? Who's gonna fight for me? God said it out of his own mouth through his own word. We have to fight. And you see everything that's coming on. We should be coming back that much harder with greater ammunition, because we know the power that is on us.
Amen.
We know the power that we walk with. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Now, so when you know that, when you understand the value of what God has given us as believers, as people who understand his power, who understand God wins, God already won, we will not sit back and cower at, well, maybe there's something where you need more. Some things absolutely, we need more context. We need more of this. We cannot cast judgment and say this is racist. This is feminist. This is sexist. This is that. You need more context in some things. But with what the world is pushing out to feed the agendas and what they're trying to feed our children, and when you have pastors who say certain things, or people, or artists who are saying certain things that defy who God is and his character, or disrespect God, using God's scriptures as a tampon, that is ultimate disrespect.
That is disrespect.
No, we don't play those games. No. We need to fight against it. And someone needs to shout.
We don't fight with sword like, the Muslim will do. We don't go and threaten and trying to kill and stab people to death. But we have the sword of the spirit, sometimes it's okay to put people in their place, especially when
What
we
do you
know,
say not me about, Darth?
I think he's saying not me, that being quiet.
Yeah. Discuss it all with facts. Exactly.
Amen.
Yes, I get it all now.
There you go. Listen, guys, I wanted to say, Paul, how did Paul serve God? From the first day that I came into Asia, and after what manner I have been with you all seasons, serving the Lord with all humility of mind and with many tears and temptation which befall me in lying by the lying in wait of the Jews. I kept back nothing that was profitable unto you, and I've showed you and I've taught you publicly from house to house. Even Paul had a job. And I'm not saying pastors should be lazy depending on the church, but the thing is, we are to serve the Lord with all humility of mind, with tears, temptation. You see, the thing is, we have been called to be servants. And I wanted to make that abundantly clear here. And I'm not justifying the man, neither are we condemning him. We're simply saying that's not the way it was supposed to be done.
And it's beautiful that he gave the apology. So even he
Love that.
recognized that.
Yeah.
That's what's most important when you take away from it. We will all make mistakes. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We all have something where we look back and say, whoa, that was out of character. I was on a high horse. I was running full speed. And God was like, hello, I'm way back here. Or I'm way up here. Or I'm way,
Yeah.
So recognizing, repenting, saying you're sorries, right? Because sometimes he said, lie not to one to another. When we unintentionally lie to one another, we need to make it right. And so he did all of those things, and that's what we applaud him for. You do a wrong, make it right. God said he'll cast it into the depths of the sea. So do we as a people.
Let's put it behind us and move forward. All right, guys. I hope
Waiting
you're
for
not
Beyonce's apology to God. I heard that this morning. I am so fired up.